what rune this is. Justice. Love it. So justice is here. Maybe somebody's caught for being a hateful, mean person. Oh, the Serene Swan again. Somebody here is very elegant, pure, and practical, and peaceful. They're a goddess, cloaked in white feathers. So this is about focus. So somebody was focusing too much on somebody. Somebody was very rigid about somebody's focus. And they put somebody through like a hazing ritual here. Something wasn't complicated. They made it complicated. Yeah, because they're not beautiful. Or something that they were doing wasn't beautiful. Somebody here, though, has Aphrodite vision. This came out in the water sign reading. You're going to want to watch that reading. You could be dealing with a water sign, or this could be who somebody's been watching, or who is watching someone. Okay, somebody's very obedient with their vision and towards justice, towards what's fair. And it's like they saw that something was very ugly and rotten here. It wasn't complicated. It was just that something was very ugly and rotten and rigid. And because of somebody's vision, maybe somebody's a visionary, or they could be a psychic or a seer or a creative of sorts. Somebody was put through some kind of fledging or hazing or something like this. And somebody was way too focused on overcomplicating something. Or they were focused because maybe something is really beautiful like Aphrodite and they were jealous or envious. I don't know. Something is very ugly here though. Somebody's very peaceful. They misjudged somebody. They were evil-eyeing somebody. I don't know why. This person didn't... I don't think this person did anything to this person. I think they were just full of hate and ego. And something about this person's existence triggered them. Sometimes that's all it takes, y'all. Who should Gemini, Libra, Aquarius be aware of? Now through mid-November. Saboteur pops out. Y'all. Okay, so somebody was falsely gossiping about somebody, but somebody is an avenger. They avenge themselves. Or somebody's going to avenge somebody because they were victimized. Okay. Wow. Energy vampire. That sounds about right, y'all. Somebody here is a narcissist or a sociopath, something dark triad-like. They drain everybody's energy and they misguide people. I'm going to go over the negative energies first, okay? So what you're going to want to watch out for, this could be somebody in your energy, or this could be you. Hopefully, if this is you, you ascend. But somebody here thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information, betraying confidences. We have a teacher in reverse, somebody that manipulates or abuses their students or their children, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. Then we have a vampire in reverse, somebody that depletes others, chronic complaining and codependency. Wow. The positive energies to look out for. Somebody here that has the desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. So somebody knew that somebody was evil-eyeing them, and they avenged themselves. Somebody that highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life. Yeah, so somebody fears self-empowerment because they themselves are not empowered. So they don't want to see another feminine or another masculine that is. That's why they were celebrating the idea of somebody not reclaiming their power. Which is a terrible, horrifying way of life. Like, my God, that is just so toxic. No, that's a no. Okay. August could be significant. August 1st, August 4th, August 11th, August 17th, August 30th, January 8th, January 4th, January 11th, January 17th, January 30th. November 30th, November 17th, November 4th, November 8th, November 1st could be significant. Okay. So, let's tap into the tarot, y'all. All right. Before we do that, let's just see, what else do we need to know here? What is this about here? Make sure you're following your girl, y'all. Sometimes I get abruptly signed off, and in case you're left on like a painful cliffhanger, make sure you're following me because I'll sign right back on. Okay. What is this about? Okay. Somebody didn't want somebody to collaborate with somebody, or there's a failed collaboration here, maybe a misaligned collaboration. Yeah, this is bad news that this collaboration is failing for somebody. Yeah, their luck has ran out. This is very unlucky, whatever this is. Yeah, they couldn't steal something. This is a failed robbery. And that could be, yeah, it's because somebody's not disturbed. I tried to disturb somebody out of hate and ego. My God. They didn't imagine this happening. Yeah, somebody owes somebody an apology. Somebody's not homeless. Now somebody's remembering. They're having memories of how they didn't support somebody, they didn't nurture somebody, they weren't there for somebody, they didn't show care and support. They owe an apology because they couldn't get away with stealing something from someone. And somebody's relaxed. So it really just goes to show that this serene swan, by the way, S, first, middle, last initials could be significant. The serene swan isn't the problem. Somebody wanted to make this person the problem, but they're not. Somebody's relaxed. They live and they learn. Something was on purpose. It wasn't an accident. Okay, so now that we got more details, let's jump into the tarot. Wow, this is a very dark energy, y'all. Overall tarot energy. Death in reverse. Yeah, this is resistance to change. Scorpio energy. Somebody doesn't want something to be over, or something's not over for something, or for someone, or somebody couldn't end something for someone, or somebody's been resisting a transformation, but the rune of transformation showed up in the upright. So it's here and you have to transform, otherwise you're going to look like a psycho. Somebody, yeah, exactly. Nine of Swords. Somebody's like in a nightmare in their head. They're having very dark thoughts. Somebody needs a little bit of help psychologically here. They're really afraid of change. This could be a fixed energy. This is somebody who's very emotionally stunted. Maybe they rely heavily on external validation. This is somebody who isn't going to win at all costs, and they didn't want to see somebody. This is envy. Six of Pentacles in the reverse. This is extreme envy, y'all. They didn't want to see somebody get what they deserve or the recognition they deserve, but they're not going to win at all costs. Because justice, look, justice, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Give me some more details on this. Wow, we don't usually get readings like this. This is very, very dark energy. What the hell could you be so mad at a serene swan over? My goodness. Somebody followed somebody. Somebody followed a teacher in reverse. They were following instructions. They should have, yeah. Now somebody's going to follow a journey of growth and a process. They're taking this risk to do this. They're going to be brave. Well, that's good. Yeah, people are talking about this. There were rumors, speculation, and slander about some kind of engagement or wedding or commitment here. Yeah, people were talking negatively about a marriage with a serene swan. Are you serious? Why? That's a gift from the Most High themselves. Yeah, that's why something declined and faded and like aged out. So something didn't happen because of envy and rumors. Yeah, jealousy. Exactly. Look what pops out. Oh my God. Somebody was possessive, dependent, paranoid. And so they did something very quickly. Rash. But something is glory to the brave. Glory favors the brave. So let's see what's happening now, y'all. Somebody really didn't want to see somebody get what they deserve. That's really sad. That's very sad. Very unfortunate. Justice is here, which means that the scales are balancing out, and now somebody is very nervous. They're having really dark thoughts because they didn't imagine this happening. They were so confident in their hatefulness. I don't know why. That was definitely a misstep. Okay. Holy Spirit, holy angels, archangels, ancestors, and the Most High. I'm calling on you to channel your ancient wisdom, your guiding light, your strength, your clarity, with intention towards my air elementals, North Node, blessed paths. Please help me bring forth the most important messages now through mid-November for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, North Node. Clear, concise, and precise. I will interpret these messages from the heart, from the soul. Any negative energy interference, please return to the sender. And on behalf of the collective and myself, we love you, we thank you, we trust you. Yeah, again, this is a failed collaboration. Somebody is having problems at work, or they're having problems with who they're working with now. Something is falling apart. This collaboration is failing. Yeah, because somebody's insecure and immature. They're a dictator. They don't know how to express themselves in a healthy way. They don't know how to communicate in a healthy way. They're not a real leader. That's the truth. So there's a father figure here that has some kind of rebellious energy here. They're untrustworthy. They're immature. They're unfeeling, unyielding, and maybe they were being bullied or they were bullying somebody. They couldn't decide due to fear or insecurity. Okay, Leo, Aries energy here. Yeah, so somebody didn't have any follow through. They were non-committal. They were irrational, not dependable. Or they have a son that is like this because of this reason. Yeah, there's toxic influence. The problem is there's either third-party interference, or this is the third-party interference. Maybe somebody's father is evil-eyed somebody. Maybe somebody's, because of somebody's strength, because somebody themselves is insecure, and they saw somebody that is secure and is deserving and is a real leader, and then they didn't like that. There were bad influences around this is the problem. Or there was third-party interference. There was exploitative energy, smacks without love, addictive patterns, selfishness. Somebody investigated this and they saw this. They took time to investigate and find these answers. Yeah, they saw that there was no love here. Or somebody's seeing that there is no love here. Somebody doesn't love themselves, and they don't love anyone else if they can't love themselves. They're reckless when it comes to love relationships because of this reason. Maybe they were raised by a father that's very rigid and inflexible when it comes to a Sagittarius or when it comes to somebody's destiny. But this is in the upright, which means it's full of blessings, and this is like new doors opening. This is like a lucky turn. This is like a good change. Okay, Pisces, Sagittarius energy. Okay, in the past, yeah, somebody here was unethical and non-committal. Taurus, Sagittarius energy. All they cared about was money. They were taking bad advice, or they were giving bad advice. They were denying tradition to an extremist degree. There was deviation of information here. What's the strength? Opening your heart up. Quintessential spouse energy, King of Cups, respectfulness, faithfulness, consideration, support, imagination, elegance, responsibility, reliability, generosity, kindness, privacy, dignity, concern, good advice, good listener. That's the only way somebody can work their way out of the cold from this situation. Okay, in the near future, yeah, somebody's not committing to something. They're not going to follow through with something because they feel insecure or because somebody was being bullied. So, okay, it looks like a father figure was bullying somebody in the near future. Give me more on this. Because somebody's telling the truth. Yeah, because somebody wants to go towards peace. And you should do that. You should not work with this person. I don't care if it's your boss or your father. It doesn't matter. They're toxic. What's the advice? That because of who you're influenced by, because of this father, this dictator-like energy that is insecure within themselves, that projects this onto other people, that's the reason why you're so indecisive and wishy-washy on should I do this or should I not do this. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But in this deck, the blindfold is off, so you're seeing something this time. So it's your decision, and you should not be influenced by this group or this family or this work environment or this father or whatever, because it turns you into an impulsive energy. It turns you into a very frustrated energy where there's unrequited love, or you feel bored in relationships, or you start getting in your head. This is very toxic. Okay, in the environment, external influences. Yeah, this is what's being unveiled. There's no love here. These people don't love themselves. This is the reason for their unhappiness. This is what's being unveiled. The moon in reverse. Something is unbalanced and unfair and unequal. Somebody tried to swap something around or make somebody's efforts feel inadequate or unrecognized. Somebody's being disillusioned and they're thinking clearly now, and they're having a realistic attitude, and they're going to move forward. They have foresight now because they're seeing things for what they actually are. Somebody was blind to something. Yeah, this is fated. Somebody's seeing that something is part of their destiny. Somebody could be watching a Sagittarius. Somebody could be watching someone or something that's part of their destiny. What's part of their destiny is them claiming their own financial independence, going alone, having financial stability and material comfort and self-control, and taking care of themselves, and breaking away from this toxic, destructive Bex with the Hex energy. Because they're unfair and their money's cursed. This is somebody that has been doing this since childhood, or somebody from the past that has been keeping somebody in a victim mentality or trapped or blinded to something for a long time. Wow. Somebody's been competing with somebody for a long time, and it has caused them to be unwell and reckless. Okay. Hope and or fear. That because of somebody's recklessness, they're ashamed, they're sad, they were non-committal, they were unethical, they can't defend themselves from their actions, they feel injured, they feel sick. But they need to put this burden down. That's where the victory is. That's where the happiness is. They need to go inwards and soul search, and they're going to see something about why they've been in their head regarding a family dynamic in the upright. The reason that they have terrible thoughts of a happy home, happy family is because somebody has been delaying their plans, pointing them in the wrong direction, keeping them in their excessive pride. They've been trying to cancel or delay something because they're toxic. Yeah. Somebody needs to put an end to this rigid thinking, this materialism, this useless lack of effort energy. Okay? Yeah. Somebody needs to get motivated to get out of their shell. Step outside of their comfort zone when it comes to feelings, when it comes to being open and vulnerable. Yes, they need to move forward with that, with the right person, and go through this transformation. That's where the blessings are, because right now there's stunted child in their ego that has no intuition, and that's the truth. And they have people messing with their head, like ops, that they think are their friends, maybe even in their own family. They need to not negotiate with anyone else and just move forward. They know, it's like, if you really think about it, you know where you should be and where you should go. Exactly. Follow your heart. Follow your heart. There's new love here. There's an attractive offer here. But it can't be unbalanced. And it can't be juggled or swapped around. You have to fight for yourself and stand up for yourself against misaligned collaboration, against people who try to bring trouble to your workplace. You need to lay down the law with that. That's where the victory is. Not giving up your power. Not going in the wrong direction. That's not, yeah. The victory is what I had mentioned previously. So that's your reading. Strong Capricorn, Sagittarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Libra, Leo, Aries, Venus in Virgo, Sagittarius Moon, Mars in Scorpio, Scorpio Sun, Saturn in Sagittarius, Jupiter in Leo, Moon in Libra, Jupiter in Gemini, Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Cancer, Mercury in Aquarius, strong Mercury energy, which is all about reason and logic and communication. Could be significant, y'all. That completes your reading, you guys.